Hi you guys, I'm Melanie, a child life volunteer for UFL Shands, here with Taylor the Turtle. Today we're going to be making tacos for dinner. Super yummy. Okay, so here we have our ingredients. And there's Taylor the Turtle helping out. She's there among our ingredients saying hi. So we have some taco sauce. Then in the bowl is some defrosted ground turkey. Then we have crunchy taco shells, taco seasoning, some lime, some guacamole, some spinach to chop up later, and some onions too as a topping, some garlic to put in, olive oil to cook our ground turkey, and some chili powder for a little extra spice, and then some mozzarella cheese. Okay, so our first step is going to be to turn on the oven. We're in my dorm kitchen, so we have to first press on the wall to turn on the oven. Next is to turn on the actual oven. This is what powers it. So now we're gonna put it to broil, but low. I like to put it to broil just because this oven kind of takes long. And Taylor and I are very hungry and we want our tacos fast. So Taylor and I today, we decided on crunchy tacos. So, you know, I think 3 is good for us. So what we're gonna be doing is in our tin, we're going to lay out our tacos. We're gonna lay them out so that they're all kind of in each other and touching, but still have some space. That way, as they heat up, they won't lose their shape if they're too far apart, so we don't want that to happen. So now I'm gonna put them in the oven and I'm gonna be watching them. Okay, so now the next step for Taylor and I is going to be cooking our ground turkey. And in case you didn't know, how you say ground turkey in Spanish is picadillo, at least where I'm from, which I'm Cuban and that's how we say it. So it's a mix of culture going on because, you know, tacos, they're Mexican origin, but I'm Cuban and I still make and eat tacos and they're one of my favorite dishes. So Taylor and I will see you when we're making the picadillo. Okay, so now the next step, Taylor and I are going to be cooking the ground turkey. So I'm gonna put Taylor here in front of me. She's gonna be watching as I do this part. So we're gonna be using this pot. We're gonna take the lid off, and we're gonna be putting some olive oil into the pot. And then we're gonna put the olive oil to the side. And we're gonna put our ground turkey that is already defrosted into the pot. And we're gonna also put the bowl to the side. Now we're gonna cover it. And we're going to turn the heat up to 3 on this oven, or this stove, I should say. And now we're just gonna wait for that. But while we wait, what we're gonna be doing is cutting up our onions, because that later on, once this gets a little hotter, we're gonna be throwing that in there for a little extra flavor. Okay, so now you hear that, guys? Our ground turkey is cooking. So now we're gonna get our tongs and we're going to move it so it can start cooking on all the other sides. And as this is happening, we're going to shred it. We have to wait for it to heat up a little more in the center so that it's easier to shred the rest of it. So let's go and wait, and let's cut our onion as we wait for this to get hotter. Okay, so next up, Taylor and I, we're going to be cutting up our onion, which is gonna go inside our ground turkey. And then next, we're gonna be shredding our spinach, which is gonna go on top of the taco. But now that we're cutting this, we're just gonna cut this too. So Taylor, she's gonna watch because, you know, knives are sharp. We all have to be careful. Mine are covered. So if you're doing this at home, you're gonna want someone who's older than you and trust with these knives to be doing this part, because we don't want anyone to be getting hurt. So I'm gonna cut a slice with my bigger knife. And look, it has mermaids on it. Super nice. And now we're just gonna be cutting our onions. And my goal is to get them into really small pieces, because I like the taste of onions, but I don't like chewing on onions. So I try to get them as small as I can so that we can have the best of both worlds in there. So in cooking terms, this is called mincing, when we're getting it really, really, really small. And another fact is that in Spanish, how you say onion is cebolla. So you spell it in case you want it, that makes it easier to pronounce. It's C-E-B-E-L-L-A. And you pronounce it cebolla. And now I'm just cutting away at my onions. And I'm doing this while my ground turkey is cooking. And I'm wiping the onions that are on the side of the knife. I'm wiping them away so they can still be with the rest of them and can be getting chopped. And some people, when they're cutting onions, it hurts their eyes. But for some reason, I think I've been cooking long enough that that doesn't happen to me anymore. But if that still happens to you, it's okay. You can take some breaks in between, because it stings your eyes. I remember that happening to me. So we're just gonna keep going. And look, you guys can see they're getting smaller and smaller as we keep chopping. Also, off camera, forgot to mention, but our taco shells are done. So I pulled them out. They're off to the side now, cooling down. And another thing that I forgot to mention is that all of these things you can put in if you like them. If you don't like them, you don't have to put them in. This is just the taco that I like to make. So I know some people like to put shredded lettuce on their tacos. But for me, I like to put spinach just because it's a little healthier. So you can try to get your dark leafy greens in there, get some nutritional value. Another thing that I like to do is you can use ground beef or ground turkey or steak or chicken or whatever filling you want in your tacos. But I'm using ground turkey just because it is healthier, because it's a lean meat. So I like that option for me, but you can put whatever you want on your taco. So now I'm gonna put my big onion to the side, and look at how small we got our onions. And I'm going to put that off to the side so we can make room to then cut our spinach leaves. So here are my spinach leaves. I already washed them, so you don't have to worry about that part. I'm gonna put this knife off to the side too. We're gonna cover it so we make sure that nothing bad happens and everything is safe. Now I'm gonna get my smaller knife. I'm gonna take the covering off, and look, it's also a mermaid knife. It has mermaid scales. So what I like to do, I don't like the stems of spinach, so I go with every leaf and I take off the stem, just because I think that part is harder to eat. So I'm gonna go through all of my leaves and take off the stems. So see, now it's just like that. And I kind of make them into a little pile, and you'll see why later. The way that I cut my spinach leaves, I don't know if that's the right way, but to me, I just like the way that it comes out because it's easy to then sprinkle on top of the taco. But again, you can do whatever you want. So Taylor right now, she's off to the side watching me cut because Taylor can't handle a knife yet, so she's just gonna be watching until she can. Okay, so now Our meat is browned, so that means it's fully cooked. Now we're going to put our onions inside so that they can cook and add some flavor. And once we mix our onions in there, we're going to add some of our seasoning in there as well. And that's going to be what adds the flavor to our food. So now I'm doing this to get some of the onion off. And now I'm going to add some salt. I'm running out of salt, not going to lie guys. I have to go to the grocery store and get some more. I'm going to add some pepper. We're going to add some taco seasoning. I'm also running out of this, but don't worry, I have more. So we're going to add this, and next we are adding adobo seasoning. And we're going to sprinkle, 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 and put that off to the side. Now I'm going to mix everything again. We're going to see that now the color starts changing with all of the seasonings. But I'm going to let this cook for a little bit. And then once it gets a little more cooked and the onions get a little more cooked too, I'm going to add some more taco seasoning, a little bit of chili powder because I like my ground turkey to be spicy. And I may add some more taco seasoning and garlic. And I think that's just going to be it for our ground turkey. Okay, now we're going to finish cutting the rest of our spinach. Taking off the other stems. And we're just going to keep going just like we were before. And that's the thing about cooking. You can't really do one step at a time. You can try to multitask, which is the hard part for some people because while you're doing one thing, something else could be cooking, and that's how things can get burned, but it's all with practice, so it's fine. So while I was cutting my spinach first, my meat started getting ready. So then I had to stop what I was doing and go back to my meat to make sure that one part of it didn't burn and it was cooking evenly. But now we're done with that. The meat's done. It's off to the side in a bowl. And we're going to finish cutting the spinach and we're going to finish getting the rest of our toppings. So now I like to kind of put them into a pile because what I do is I roll them up so that it's kind of like a big tube, and then I cut them like this so that it becomes like shredded spinach and it's easier to then sprinkle on the top, which is what I was saying before. So now we have our lines of spinach, which they look like this, see? All shredded, easy to put on the top. And now we're gonna do it for the next pile, and then we are done with the spinach. So after this, the next thing we're going to tackle is going to be building our taco. So I'll show you how I like to build my taco, what I like to put first. And then you guys can do whatever you want with your taco. This is just what I like to do because what I think it tastes the best. Okay, so now we have our taco shells here. One of them broke, but you know that's okay because we can still eat it like this. You know, it doesn't have to be in the perfect shell, things happen. And now we have our ground turkey in this bowl. And I'm gonna go and get the rest of the ingredients. All right, you guys, so these are our finished taco shells. Look at Taylor, she's so proud that they came out all nice. So we're gonna leave them there for a sec, and our taco meat is all done as well. So now off camera, I'm gonna be putting it into a bowl and we're gonna be working on the toppings. All right, you guys, now we're on our last step. So I have my taco shell here. And the first thing I'm gonna do is put some guacamole inside. So this is the guacamole that I like to use. I'm gonna open it. And with a spoon, I use the back of the spoon because I think it's easier to spread. I'm gonna grab it like this. See, none in the front like that. And then you put it in your taco, and then you spread. And so I'm getting both sides so I make sure that it's even. And look at that. There we go. So now I like to do one taco at a time so I can eat as I go. So our next step is going to be putting the ground turkey inside. And usually when I'm at a restaurant or if someone else is eating with me, I'll get sour cream, but sour cream spoils fast. So since I live by myself and I'm the one that's just eating this, I don't buy sour cream all the time. So I just have guacamole. And as you can see, I'm spooning in our ground turkey and I'm packing it in to make sure it doesn't fall out as we put more stuff inside. So here, filled with our ground turkey. And now up next is going to be putting some taco sauce on it. So I'm gonna lay my taco down for a little bit as I open this, because not gonna lie guys, this is kind of hard to open up and squeeze. So now I'm going to do it. I'm gonna try to get it even. There we go. So look, now I have some sauce in there. And up next, we're gonna put some mozzarella cheese and sprinkle that inside. So I'm just getting some. I'm kind of moving it out because it was in a clump, but I'm getting a little bit at a time in my hands. So now I have a little handful here and I'm just putting it in as I go. I like to make it even because I like every bite to have a good amount of everything and not too much cheese on one side, not enough guacamole on the other side. So I'm spreading it around and making sure that everything is covered evenly. And there we go. Now I have a little cheese on my hands. We're gonna wipe that away. I'm gonna wipe it. Oh, look at my washcloth. It has puppies, all different kinds of puppies on it. So I'm gonna wipe my hands. And now our very last step is going to be to sprinkle on the spinach that we just finished cutting. So now I'm gonna grab some and I'm gonna put it inside. Just like that. And it's okay, some falls out. It's gonna happen while we eat it anyways. But there we go. This is our taco. And I made this taco for Taylor and she's gonna eat it now off to the side of the camera. But I hope you guys enjoyed making tacos with Taylor and I. I'm gonna keep going and making the rest of my tacos and you guys are more than welcome to join. I hope you like them and they are very tasty. Remember, you can do whatever you want with them. It's you who's eating them. It's you who knows what tastes good for you. But I hope you guys enjoy and I'll see you later.